Okay, hey guys, I'm recording the video again. Last time I recorded, there was no audio, so now we have. And I'm gonna go through the GitHub repository, the commits. So last time we talked about the enemy names. We can have three different names, a combination of names of three words. So we've been through that, and I don't think I've showed the design, but I'll go through it again just in any case. So here on enemy name, make it here. Okay. So here on enemy names, you have where are they? Here. You have the first name, the middle name, and the last name, and each of them have a weight that will be set as a parameter in the object, and the design for them is supposed to be here. It is, yeah. So, for example, in Act 1, you're gonna have beasts or humanoids, mechs, and magical enemies. For example, in the beasts, you have this first name, which is not the actual name of the creature. It's an adjective. So it's a feral, plated, aerobicized, all these here, and then the middle name, which is the element for beasts. Other creatures will have different middle names or characteristics for the middle name. For the beasts, they are the elements, and then the actual creature's name. Okay, so raven, spider, lizard, snake, rat, whatever. And so these are for enemy names. Let's go back to the repository. Variable visibility fix, change player arc, nothing UI, yeah. So we added also the skills class. It was very basic stuff that I've added to the skills and ability system. So here. So on the skill, there's many different types of constructors. So you're gonna first have the first variable, which is name, and then the integer, another integer. Sorry, you're gonna have a name for the ability, how many charges it uses, and element. And for another type of skill, you can add conditions, you can remove conditions, you can add two conditions. It depends on how the ability is coded. Now we do have a example here. Yeah, so here a test fire skill, and then there's a test burn skill. There'll be like fire ball and a burn ball, for example. So here, name, how many charges it uses. This false here, what is this false? What? What is this false? Ah, here. Yeah. So for the skill enemy, we have, or for the specific skills for like enemies and allies, you have like if it's cast on yourself. For example, a healing condition you're gonna cast it on yourself. You're gonna cast it on your enemy. So that's why I added this boolean variable here. Then the element, and then the condition here, which can be added here. Element condition. I've added different. I'll revise this later. Anyway, so this is just an example I'm going to show you later when we test the game. And that's for skills. Let's go back to commits and okay, change player archetypes, implemented attack rules. Yeah, I believe I've implemented attack rules. Yeah, that's correct. So let me just pause it and find where this is exactly. Okay, so we have here, whenever the player attacks, he's going to call the attack function. The damage set to 0. We create a damage dice variable, which is the equipped weapon dice roll. And Then we execute the attack roll function, which will we have the dice roll, and then these two we use them in case the player has an advantage or disadvantage. Okay, so first time the player is going to roll dice, so he's going to roll d20, the attack roll, the first attack roll, to see if he gets through the armor class of the enemy. And then if the player has advantage or disadvantage, we roll other two dices, and we set the first one and the second one. If it's advantage, we see which one is the max between these two, and we use it. If it's a disadvantage, we use the minimum between these two dice, and this dice is going to be discarded. Okay. Now we also create a dice roll original variable, which is this dice roll here, so it's not so disregarded after all. And we're gonna set the if melee equals to equipped weapon property. Okay, so we add to the dice roll. Okay, wait. Never mind what I said. So we roll these two, and then we set the one of these two, which is the max remaining two dice roll. So yeah, it is disregarded. Yes, it is disregarded. So then we add the modifier to the dice depending on what weapon type it is. If the player has the advantage of that weapon type, we have to configure this in the future as well. And system that out. Okay, so it prints out dice roll. Now here I'm using these variables as temporary. Like the player is never gonna roll 8,000. So if the original roll is a 20, this dice roll is going to be used as a critical in the other function. Okay, and if it's if the player rolls a 1 without the modifiers, okay, so that's why we use dice roll OG, because you set the dice roll OG here as the dice roll, and then later you're gonna add the modifiers. So if the player rolls a 20, we have to take in consideration that that's a critical. So we set the dice roll as 8,000, which is a critical, and 8,001 if the player rolls a critical fail, which is 1. And if it's less than 1 with the modifiers, we set it to 1. This is not a critical. And if the dice roll is less than the enemy that the player is fighting against, the armor class of that enemy, we set the dice roll to 0. 0 represents this. And you can see this in this function here. Where is it? Dice roll, attack roll. Here, the attack. Okay. So as you can see here, the attack roll is 0. Missed. If it's 8,000, critical hit. If it's 8,001, critical fail. And the critical fail, we set it to 0. And then we're going to also have to set a boolean variable here to use in the battle loop to, I don't know, do something crazy. Or in the case of a critical hit, the same thing. And 0, the attack missed. Let's see what's the next thing. Attack rolls, we already discussed that. And yeah, we added some conditions as well. Here. Conditions. We added some designs for some conditions. So we have bleed, stun, fracture, regeneration conditions, burn, freeze, electrify, sleep, paralysis, push, air, strong, all that. And there's also the disadvantages. And yeah, no, nothing is coded yet. Still have to code that, each one of them. And attack rolls, damage, other fracture condition. Yeah, I think the fracture condition was something. Yeah, you need rest for it to go away, and it gives this disadvantage to the roll. That's one of the things I've designed that's a bit different. And general fixes, merge pull request, merge range, affected. This guy Pernit Rahuvanshi, I don't know how to say his name, sorry. He helped me with some stuff in the code, and he formatted the code. He added a different logic than the one I was using, and add base name. Okay, we already showed you guys that. The design, I'm not gonna show you guys the design for the creatures and all that. I'll leave them for you guys to play. And merge brain, undo enemy names. So chapter 4 beasts names. Added some enemy names, okay. All design. General fixed, update character, added enemies, defeated count, update player Java. Yeah, I believe that is it actually. Let me check actually. Yep, that is it. I'm gonna show you guys the game a little bit, how it's going. So I'll pause and just double check. Okay, so here, let me execute F6. Okay, so type something to continue. A friend of mine, he suggested me to, instead of typing something, so type something to continue, the player could just press enter and then the next thing happens. So I'm gonna have to check how to do that. So you check your class, and he's enforcer. The roles really don't matter now. Nothing is showing how it works now. There's a little delay. And okay, those are the same roles we rolled. And I believe I showed the class, the shop. So character stats. I'm also gonna do a pretty design here. And type something. He also suggested me. He showed me this space navigation game, Star Trek. It's a very old game. Each part of the screen here, each section of the screen is used for something specific. So I believe like we'd use like half of the screen here to display the text, and then here's the character info, maybe the enemy info here below, or a picture or something that we're gonna see what we're gonna do. So here I want to show you the skills and conditions and all that. Okay, so here's the dice roll happening, the logic I showed you earlier. So dice roll and then current roll 15, total roll 15. The player has an advantage in this case, so dice roll 1 and 2, 17, 17, 7, 7. Highest is 17. So these are the two. This is dice 1 and this is dice 2. So he takes dice 1 because the player has advantage. Okay, so as you can see here, you have advantage. You dealt 1 damage, Spider used Burn Ball, Spider dealt 2 damage to you, and you have been burned. So now the player is burned. If I'm not mistaken, the burn stays after the battle. So different conditions are going to have different places they take effect. So we're going to decide this later. And here you earned XP, continue your descent. Fight, okay, whatever. So here, as you can see, the Fire Snake used Burn Ball, dealt 2 damage to you, and you took 3 damage. So like here, you are already burning from the past battle. And you're burning, and then after some time, the burn's gonna go away. I believe it's 2 or 3 turns. I don't know if they're gonna handle it actually, so let me use a potion. Okay. So yeah, you are no longer burning after 3 turns, I believe. So first turn burn, second turn burn, and then third turn it goes away. That's the weakest burn so far. And I believe that's it. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.